Welcome back. You're watching The Global Reset with me, Prashant Nair, here on CNBC-TV18 Prime. As I said, we're going to be talking to the man who runs TÜV SÜD, a leader in quality testing worldwide, and of course with big ambitions here in India as well. But for the uninitiated, let me set the context right? Let's just take you through what TÜV SÜD is all about, what it does, why it matters for India's ambitions as an exporting powerhouse. Now, TÜV SÜD is one of the world's most trusted names in quality and compliance. Headquarters in Germany, over 1,000 locations worldwide. It is the go-to partner for businesses that want their products recognized, trusted and accepted across global markets. In India, TÜV SÜD has put down strong roots, investing in a world-class campus in Bengaluru, building advanced labs and deploying thousands of experts to help over 10,000 companies in Southeast Asia cut through compliance, bottlenecks and accelerate exports. Now, India wants to be a manufacturing hub. There's China plus one and all of that, right? But scale without quality, of course, will be a false start. To be a true exporting powerhouse, Indian products need to be trusted everywhere. Not just here in India, of course, but overall, overseas as well. And certification becomes the passport that unlocks global markets. For Indian businesses, every day, saved in certification means faster shipments and lower costs. And that's where TÜV SÜD kind of comes in. Their labs in India ensure that a test certificate issued in Bengaluru is accepted in Berlin, Boston or Beijing, giving Indian exporters a true edge. From solar panels to wind turbines, from EV batteries to charging stations, safety and reliability are paramount. And that's where TÜV SÜD comes in and plays a critical role. Of course, in clean energy transition, the ambitions there, embedding trust into the technologies that will power those net zero sort of aims for the future. Now, it's not just about products, it's also about, of course, workforce and training. TÜV SÜD is helping India build skills for Industry 4.0, certify sustainability practices and shape a workforce that can compete and lead on the global stage. So with that short preamble, let me welcome in the man who runs TÜV SÜD, Ishan Palit, the CEO and Chairman of the Board of Management at the company. Ishan, great to have you with us here.
Thanks, Prashant.
Thank you very much. I hope that was by and large accurate.
Absolutely. Completely. And a great pronunciation, by the way.
TÜV SÜD.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping with that. So talk to us a little bit about what's your experience been here in India? Because, as I said, and it's true, we talk about, who's investing how much and how many thousands of crores and, private capex cycle, et cetera. But in terms of the quality of stuff which is being made, is it world class? Are there issues there? Are there gaps? You've got roots here in India.
Right.
You've got people working here. Just talk to us a little bit about the experience.
Yeah, sure. So I started TÜV SÜD in India in 1994.
Okay.
When I relocated back to India, I started it here. And in those days, that was pretty much the development of supply chains where India was becoming a part of a global manufacturing setup where you just adopted whatever designs were being created all over the world and then you created products. You needed quality and reliability at that point in time. And it was all about making sure that the processes and the systems to produce this were standard, that you had a reliable output coming out of the factories. That has evolved over years. Yeah, so now we are coming to a point in time where India is also adding intellectual capacity to these products and these systems.
Yeah.
And that is extremely important because we are now, if you talk about Viksit Bharat and what we want to achieve as India, you have a lot more than just, cheap labor and the ability to, have large factories.
Yeah.
You have intellectual capacity and you have design that is becoming an important part of our Indian manufacturing setup.
Yeah.
Along with that comes, of course, risks. And that's where we, as TÜV SÜD, have to play a part. We were founded 150 years ago. 150 years ago, we were founded because there were pressure vessels and steam vessels that were exploding during the Industrial Revolution. And whenever you have these kind of things happen during new technologies, you impact the adoption of these new technologies. So a very important part of what we do is create trust and confidence, not just in quality. That's plain vanilla, but also in safety, in security, in sustainability of these products that are coming out.
Sure, sure.
And now when we look at the trends that are emerging globally, we've got electrification of the automotive fleet. We need a strong domestic market as well. And if we do not have confidence that these charging stations are going to be safe, you're not going to catch on fire, you're not going to be on the sea link in Mumbai and have a car that spontaneously combusts. If you don't have standards around this and you don't test and make sure that this is going to be reliable, then you will not have adoption. If you don't have adoption, you cannot be a global player. It's the same thing with energy storage systems. When we want to have renewable energy, we've got great ambitions. India has absolutely awesome ambitions on renewable energy. But you need to have storage systems. If you don't have storage systems that are reliable, that are grid compatible, that do not bring down entire systems, you're not going to be able to roll out these microgrids in the rural
How many, I mean, you're talking, it's a range of industries, right? So
It's
how
a
many
range.
verticals does TÜV SÜD have? I mean,
We do everything from shoes to nuclear power plants.
and how does it work? So for example, I want to set up, say, I want to make bearings, right,
Yeah.
in India.
Yeah.
So for example, you know, in things like pharma, there is the US FDA.
Yes.
And you've got to be compatible with US FDA. And I got to meet certain standards, etc. And they'll come and they'll inspect and, you know, but in terms of if I'm going to sell bearings to a customer in, say, for example, the US, right? It's between you and me and the US customer.
Yes.
Does TÜV SÜD get hired by the US customer to inspect quality here? Or, I mean, do you have like certification marks which are now well recognized world over that if my bearings are stamped safe and reliable and trustworthy, I mean, that carries, that's understood by the buyer as being all of those?
Both. Yeah, so it's a pretty long answer, but it is both. So you have products that have certification marks that show either safety or security or sustainability, all of these. We also are hired by the OEMs or whoever that says, these are my specifications. Please go make sure that you know, they're being produced to my specifications.
Okay.
So it depends on who owns the design. It depends on who is demonstrating the compliance. If it is the Indian organization, you usually have a product stamp and
So your competitors, the ISO, is it?
No, the ISO is the standard that we use.
Okay.
So the ISO is an organization that creates these standards that are acceptable worldwide. Yeah.
Okay.
It is, in a sense, compared to FDA standards or FCC standards or any other standards. For example, in cybersecurity, it's ISA Secure. It's a standard called 62443, and India is actually on the forefront of this. When you talk about, yesterday I was at the IGCC annual general meeting, and somebody mentioned, hey, our Industry 4.0 is what makes productivity great. And if we don't get our if we don't roll out Industry 4.0 and have great productivity, then we're not going to reach these 99%.
Sure.
Yeah, but if you do Industry 4.0 and you don't have a really robust OT cybersecurity system in place, you've got a problem. Because now everything is vulnerable and everything is connected.
Yeah.
So,
you will work with industry certification bodies, I mean, to ensure that the products are compliant to those standards. And in other areas, I mean, there are various things depending on the industry, the product, etc., in question.
So we are the grand enablers, right? We work with companies, we work with the buyers, we work with the industry standard setting organizations, we work with institutions, we work with governments. So we're sort of the cog in the middle that makes sure that we come up, and especially on emerging technologies, right? I mean, we worked with organizations to figure out what is the standard for batteries that are immersed in water. That, you know, there's a flood, you have a battery that goes into water. How does that impact this electric vehicle battery? Yeah. So we need to come up with standards for these situations on new risks.
You're involved in that sense, coming up with sort of standards, etc., as well. So,
as well, exactly.
Because these are newer technologies, and often enough regulators, etc., are behind the curve in that sense in terms of what's going on in labs, in terms of coming up with technologies. But go to market, you need those safeguards, those rules, regulations, etc., and you come in there as well.
Absolutely. I mean, because if you don't have a sort of playground, you know, where to demonstrate what the risks are and evaluate those risks, then you're unable to actually roll these out safely.
Okay. So tell us, I mean, what are the gaps in India, and where are we cutting edge, and where are we, without of course naming companies, or just a state of play?
So, India right now is actually in a really good position. What I would really love to see and continue to see is that we don't that we move away from being the sort of outsourced contract manufacturer to a destination which adds significant value. That is actually driving the conversation. And with the, all products and systems right now have an element of software, have an element of AI built into them, yeah? And India has the opportunity to be really strong in that, because what we're going to see is that if you think about an automobile, the automobile is going to be a bunch of mechanical parts.
Basically, go up the value chain. I mean,
absolutely, go up the value chain.
Go up the value chain. You want to give an example of anything you've seen specifically where this may be happening, or, I mean, the opportunity is there. I mean, we speak to companies all the time, especially IT services companies. I mean, we had one this morning, and we were talking about Gen AI and how, and there are companies now, building products which use, say, things like ChatGPT as the engine, and are the, sit between, say, ChatGPT and the end user. I mean, significant market, value has been created just by doing that. But Indian IT services, for example, is just services. But I'm just giving you an example that we have those conversations. But you want to talk about anything specific?
So when you look at, let's take the favorite example of the automotive industry, right? In the automotive industry, you've got automated driving systems that are coming up. Yeah, they can be absolutely divorced from the OEM itself. Yeah? There is a lot of value to be added and a lot of value to be created when you are programming and designing automated driving systems. Yeah? And of course, you work with the OEM as well. But actually creating these systems, you can do that with a brain trust that is away from the actual nuts and bolts. Yeah? And I see us playing a role also in industrial automation, right? When you talk about robotics and industrial automation, I see us playing a big role, not necessarily in the hardware part. There are other parts of the world, we know which parts they are, that are really, really good at the hardware. We are really, really good at the software and the other side of it. And we need to incorporate that and allow ourselves not just to be the outsourced programmers, but actually create products there. And I see that happening right now. And have the IP. Yep. And that's where the power is going to be. It's not going to be in the guys who make the nuts and bolts.
You worked in China a long time as well?
A lot. A lot.
I mean, since '99 when markets opened.
Absolutely.
Do you see parallels here? What's happening? I mean,
I see it's different. I mean, it's almost like, in India we skipped the telephony revolution and went from telegram to mobile phones. It's a little similar. We're going to probably leapfrog the high volume manufacturing. It's very difficult to compete with that infrastructure and logistics and everything else. Scale, yeah. It is mind-blowing what you have in China. We've got 3,000 folks in China. Wow. We've got 2,000 in India, but we've got 3,000 folks in China. And we've got massive labs, the scale of which would absolutely boggle your mind, yeah? We will probably skip that huge hyperscaling, but we will go to a situation where we're adding intellectual capacity. And don't get me wrong, China's coming very quick on that as well. Yeah,
new industries there.
Absolutely
cutting edge.
Absolutely cutting edge. Robotics, I tell you, it's mind blowing. But we will see that happening in India, and we will see ourselves adding value in the softer side of what we make. And so we will make them, but we will also add a lot of value.
Let me ask you an unfair question for those who are watching, maybe, and. You straddle so many industries. You work with so many. It's true from. By the way, I had on this program the chairman of Nuclear Power Corporation, and by the way, nuclear sector is being opened up with the changes to the law, etc., in the coming years. But you have a bird's eye view. Which are the industries in terms of manufacturing where you're really excited about here in India? You see that coming up in a big way. Specific industries in manufacturing.
I think that industrial controls and automation is something where we can be very, very successful with. So it's around the topic of robotics and automation and factory automation and all of that. I think we can be extremely successful there because that does not need massive factories, but it needs a lot of intellectual power. And we have that intellectual power. So I see that as being something that is extremely important. I see the entire ecosystem of energy efficiency and energy transformation. I see that being very, very important. We have an opportunity there also because maybe other parts of the world are sort of taking their foot off the gas on that.
Yeah.
So we have an opportunity there. And I see, the peripheral of all of this. So when you talk about charging infrastructure, when you talk about the grid infrastructure, all of this, because we're going to need it for ourselves, we will also be in a position to take this out to the other parts of the world.
Lovely. And manufacturing revival is a big theme, right, around the world because everybody wants to, securing one's own supply chains, having more production onshore, etc. You think, 20 years software has ruled the world. I mean, it still rules the world with the Mag 7, etc., AI, etc. But you think there's a broad manufacturing revival underway as well as countries are doing this?
For sure, and it's politically tenable as well, right? I mean, people want employment for their societies and want to move up and have a greater success, which comes with jobs and which comes with job creation. And so definitely that is going to take place. Is that going to replace international trade? Absolutely not. It's not possible. Otherwise, we'll all be growing gardens in our backyards, vegetables in our backyards and eating only that. Yeah, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a topic and a theme that will continue to be at least part of our discourse for a period of time.
Ishan, wishing you and TÜV SÜD all the best in your endeavors here in India and around the world as well. Great conversation, and I hope you come back to this program next time you're here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Prashant. Appreciate it.
Well, I think that's an interesting chat, a chat we don't normally have. As I said, we talk about scale, size of investments, but I mean, some of the finer stuff, quality of what is being produced, safety, trust, etc. That's a conversation we had in this program today. Hope it was useful. It was certainly enjoyable for me. Thank you very much for staying with us here on this edition of the Global Reset. More comes up after a break.